Good morning.
Good morning.
As Liz mentioned, we have a special guest today, and as John started the service with, I also consider us to have an angel among us. She's a licensed clinical psychologist at Northwestern Medicine in Huntley, McHenry, and Woodstock. While some might call her the cat lady for the 78 rescue cats that she's fostered, she is, to me, a living angel and also the most selfless, caring, and giving person I think I've ever met. She's registered to donate her bone marrow to anyone in need, and she's also signed up as a liver donor. She's here today for me as a living angel, and Pat and I consider her to be part of our family. On April 11th this year, she donated one of her kidneys to save my life. I'll be forever grateful. Without further ado, let's give a warm St. Paul's welcome to Heidi Dooley, my living angel and kidney donor.
To take a really incredible experience and put that into words. And so I thought a lot about what to say, and I thought that I would tell you my why. So I get asked from everybody when they find out that I donated to a stranger, why? So I'll tell you my why. I'm from a small town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the UP, but my town is Gwynn, and it is very, very tiny. And my parents were born and raised there, and so were my brother and sister and I. And when I was 10, my dad was in a fatal welding accident, and that happened at our home, and he died 3 weeks later at the hospital. And I always thought that that was the worst thing that had ever happened to me, and it was the worst time of my life. And now as I get older and I think back on that time in my life, what I see is kindness and love and compassion and a lot of beauty. That tiny town gave us everything they had and beyond. They cooked us meals, they gave us donations, they drove us 3 kids around so that my mom never had to leave my dad. And the amount of people that came to his funeral was enormous. And I know that our community kept a close eye on this for a long time. And even now when I go home, 33 years later, people will stop me and they'll tell me stories about my dad, and they'll tell me how much they miss him. And so here we are, decades later, and all of that kindness is still coming to me. And so when I saw the Daily Herald article, and it had a picture of Dave and Pat and their daughters, I didn't see a stranger. I saw a dad. And I saw a family that wanted more time together. And I'll tell you the truth, I went on Facebook and I stalked their family. I saw all of the pictures, and especially their daughter Stephanie. She had so many pictures of their family, and it was such a beautiful family. And she had a lot of posts that were public, seeking a donor for her dad, and I felt her anguish just reading that. And I felt the love she had for her family, and I felt her fear. And she wanted more time with her dad, and I connected with that, and I get that, and I know that need, and to me that just sort of felt like things were coming full circle. And I filled out the application that day. It was October of last year. And I just knew that I would be the donor. I didn't care how many people they tested. I knew it was going to be me. I didn't even know my blood type, but I knew I was going to be a match. And I had a lot of concerns, of course. You know, it's surgery and there's complications and what happens when you live your life with one kidney. But once again, I had this enormous support system. So I never really told my mom or my stepdad or my siblings or even my close friends this story. I never told them my why, but they knew. And how can you not support that? And my poor husband, he listened to me for months. Listen to what I read on Facebook, and look at this study, and what about this, and what do you think about that? And it was months, pretty much every night after work of him listening to me. So he's my angel. And Northwestern, like Dave said, I work at Northwestern, and so my work was supportive. We were part of the Northwestern transplant program, so they kind of better be, I think. And I'll tell you, living donors are so generous with their time. You know, there are Facebook groups, and I had a donor buddy, complete stranger, who also donated at Northwestern, spent a Sunday with me. She answered all of my questions. I mean, they're a really supportive group of people. And so I wasn't called to test until January. And so I had some time to really think about it. I filled the application in October. I didn't get the call till January, and then eventually I did test on Valentine's Day. And so they called me the next week to tell me that I was a donor, and I was like, I know, I've known that since October. If you just would have tested me right back then, we would have been done with this already. But so by then, I agreed that I wanted to meet Dave and his family, and thankfully, they wanted to meet me too. They didn't have to, and that would have been okay with me. I absolutely still would have donated. So I took the train to the city on March 28th, our pre-out day when we met. And at this point, the only real concern I had was navigating our relationship. And I was so afraid they wouldn't like me. I was so afraid that they would meet me and they would be like, no, we don't want her kidney, and they would change their mind. Because it had become so important to me, and it had become such a part of my story that I was so afraid they would say no. But meeting them was really awesome because they are extremely warm people. They're very welcoming. Of course, it was like hugs and tears, and then it just felt really natural. And Stephanie, their daughter, made shirts that they all wore the day of surgery, and it had my name on them, and it was about living donation. It was so sweet. And I know that you all were praying, and I received text messages and phone calls and letters and cards and gifts, and again, I felt like I was getting more than I was giving. I felt so overwhelmed that perfect strangers cared enough to reach out to me. And so our surgery was April 11th. Here we are, we made it, and I think we're both doing really well. I really don't feel any different than before surgery. But I've learned some things about myself and some things about other people. And I learned that I can face my fears. I had never had an IV, and I was terrified of IVs, and now I've had 3 of them. So I'm a little stronger than I thought. I learned that I have just an enormous amount of love and support, and that there are incredibly generous people in the world. And there's a lot of people in the world doing really amazing things and lots of acts of kindness. And I learned that when I step out and I follow my heart, that my life will change. And I also learned that there's a drastic shortage of transplant organs in the United States. And so, 13 people die every day waiting for a kidney. And every 14 minutes, another person is added to the list for a kidney transplant. So currently, we have, just in the United States, 93,000 people are waiting for a kidney alone. And the average wait time is 3 to 5 years. So when we give a a living donation, that means that that next person on the list is gonna get that next gift that comes in faster. It has a ripple effect, and it allows so many more people to receive the transplants that they need. So I noticed a theme today, with the season of Thanksgiving, and I'd like to just quickly share a few things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for all of the prayers and the love and the support that I've received in the process, and my heart is so full. And I'm thankful for my health, but I'm so very thankful for Dave's. And I'm thankful that Stephanie and Debbie will get more time with their dad. And I'm really thankful that Dave and Pat and their family have welcomed my family and I into theirs. And I'm thankful for your time, and I appreciate you listening to me. Living donation has really been the best thing I've ever done.